I am, I drink a lot of water in the morning, and you would think that I wouldn't come in here and still be parched. I drink a lot of water, but I am. And so, yeah, I got to get my little water in. So, I'm just, what an amazing day, right? I'm so thankful to have woken up this morning. I don't know about you, but I laid there after I woke up. My thing goes off at, what is it? It's at 4:45. And I actually laid in the bed until 10 after 5. And I did my workout upstairs instead of going, good morning, Ruth. Happy blessed Saturday to you. I actually exercised upstairs instead of going all the way down to the basement, and put on my playlist, and I got my groove on. I just did some dancing for about 20 minutes. And then I was like, in the same time, I'm feeling like, I try my best to like I'm re-inhabiting my body, reclaiming it. And, I was talking about with Stephanie doing this reclamation project where we recognize our body as a working part of our own being. So in my thing of dancing, I'm telling my body, my shoulders, my heart, my everything, like, all right, y'all, let's get moving. Let's do this. As a matter of fact, I was doing that before I went to sleep last night. I had a weird dream. I can't quite remember what it was, but it seems like it was a strange dream. I've been having some really strange dreams lately, and I will say that I feel honored to be having dreams. And even if I can't quite remember them, I need to remind myself to look up a horse and an elephant, because in one dream, I was watching horses and an elephant go by me. Don't ask me. It felt like I was in some other like Arabian Nights kind of thing. Good morning. Whatever. Yes, we have to be one in our, yes. And so yes, we got to be one in our fit bodies. Amen on that. So but yeah, I had these weird dreams. And Derek, since you chimed in, I had a dream that one of my brothers gave me $1,000, like $1,000 cash, just peeled it out of their pocket and gave it to me. So I'm waiting on my $1,000, right? Because it was 10 crisp $100 bills, and I took it right to the bank. So even if you don't know it's you yet, just amen on that, right? so so yeah, it's funny because yesterday, I have made this recommitment to not start back spending my evening time watching television, right? Not gonna get caught up in that. And so every day I've been calling somebody out of my family, like somebody, right? So yesterday, I had a conversation with my aunt, and from doing the work that we are doing out of this book, It Didn't Start With You. I'm really just trying to for everybody I'm talking to, just let me see what is there for me, what is there for me to do. And so one of the things that I know is that I'm really diligently starting to work not just on myself, but on those that are around me. One of the things that is amazing about some of the books that I've been reading, especially Bruce Lipton, I think is amazing. So I think I've mentioned his book here a time or two. We are doing Mark Wolin's book, but one of the things that it talks about is and we know this, right? Because I've said it like forever. We say hurt people, right? But we also know enliven people. So if what we do affects those that are around us, is once I get my energy together, then that means, because entrainment is a real thing, right? We change the vibration of the air that is around us. We change the vibration of the bodies that are around us. And so people are entrained with our level of activation, if you want to put it that way. So what I know is that as I do healing work on myself and my body, like if I'm sending good vibes and love through my heart, if I like get my cells where they are activated and energized, then anybody who walks into my space, they have to, because and this is not a conscious thing, remind you, right? It's not like it's not like most people tell their cells, hey, to get in line, because most of us aren't conscious of that. And so this is not a conscious thing, but when we come into each other's company, our bodies automatically entrain with the vibration that is being held in that space and time. So what happens is that for me, if I say to a person that I am a healer, then I need to be vibrating on that healing level, because if I'm not, then what happens is you know how people are, right? A heavy person, a heavy energy person, or a down, depressed person can pull you down. And so if I am in the business of lifting up, then that means that I need to train my vibrations to be in the healing mode always. And so I'm telling my heart that it heals. I'm telling my kidneys and my liver and my lungs and all of the things, all my parts, whether it is, my lymphatic system, whether it's my, what do you call this thing here? Whether it's my larynx or my, not about to say prostrate, not that, whatever it is, I am lifting it up vibrationally, so that when people come around me, that I got a vibration going. So my vibration causes theirs, if even just for that time, to be lifted up too. And so that becomes the efforting that all of us can do within ourselves, even if you don't feel as if you are in the space yet, or in the mentality where you need to lay hands on each other. And as a matter of fact, the wonderful thing is that it's not dependent upon whether I can put my hands on you. The vibrational field that I move in means it needs to be a field that is energized and lifted up. I used to tell, what? Hey, Val, girl, you know what? And I've been thinking about you too, because, so one of the things that, in this one book that I'm reading, it talks about the things that we need to do to also stimulate our brains. Now, the brain, a lot of times people think of a brain as what they think with, right? And sure enough, the brain does register stuff, but the brain, just like a muscle, any of the rest of your muscles in your body, your brain has its function, and its function is to control all the rest of this stuff on your body. And so in one of the books that I read, it said to start taking fish oil, and it talks about the stuff, certain herbs and stuff that we need to take. And so I was, I went and got me some fish oil, as well as I got, I think I talked to you about taking some biotin, or taking something for, for all of the rest of that stuff. But it's like taking some supplemental stuff that recognizes and feeds your brain. And so meditation is really especially good for the brain. But also, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that I don't think that we recognize. The brain is what's in our head. It's what controls our bodies and our bodily functions. When something is wrong with our brain, if you have a headache, the thing is we're, a lot of times our culture is focused in on treating symptoms. We get a headache and we just go and we want to take an aspirin or something to deal with the headache. But the headache is there trying to tell you that there is something else wrong in your body. Something else is gone astray or askew, and so it's showing up as a headache. And what aspirin does is it just masks, it stops you from feeling the headache, but it doesn't solve the problem. And so if we're not looking at our diet, what we eat, what we drink, what we're doing in our life, if we're not looking at all of that stuff, we're missing all that stuff. And then when dis-ease sets into our body, it's like we're sitting up there acting like, oh my God, we're so surprised. But in actuality, all of this is pointing us to something much deeper. So for me, and let me get back to this. So the brain is the muscle that is inside of your head that controls all of your bodily stuff. Your mind, instead of it being inside of your head, you are inside of your mind. Your mind is your energy field. That's why when somebody walks or steps into it, or we talk about that it's too close, that somebody is too close, because now they have stepped into your vibrational, your magnetic field, right? And so each of us has this field that is surrounding us and that gives us information even before, oh my gosh, it gives us information even before the information arrives on the scene. And when we are in tune with it, when we are busy cleaning that out, when we're busy taking care of the field that we move in, the vibrational field and the energy that we move in, then it can effectively do its job. If we are going to sleep, or if we're not up, if we're not amped up, turned on, then it's going to be sleep just like the rest of it. And that's one of the reasons why I talk about sometimes when I'm talking about these substances that we take into our body, sometimes we think that it heightens our senses, right? We think that, ooh, if I smoke a little weed, or if I do a little bit of this or do a little bit, like it heightens it. But then you got to ask yourself, like, just like when we take aspirins to do something else to our body, is this enhancing or is it hurting, right? And do I constantly need something in order to make things work? Or do I recognize that I am the energy, right? Y'all, you are so much more powerful than any battery, any engine, any electricity, anything else that you can get your hands on. You are way more powerful than this. And when you come to recognize the power that you are, then what you do is you begin to cultivate that power and then start to feel for it, right? Feel what your energy is like. Pay attention to how other people make you feel, even before. You don't need evidence for it. I have been of the mindset where when I feel things, we start looking for evidence. We start, like we need somebody to concur with what it is, to substantiate what it is that we're thinking or feeling. The fact that you're feeling it is substantiation enough. We got to learn how to trust ourselves. We got to learn how to trust our senses. We have to learn what empowers us, what enlivens us, and what saps it away. And so whether that is with food and paying attention to how you feel when you eat certain foods or when you drink certain things, we have to be about the business of paying attention, Because when we don't, it's as if we are, it's as if our bodies are asleep, y'all. And then we are also at the effect of our thinking and our words. So the more we say, oh, I'm not this, or oh, I'm not that, then that becomes your reality, right? Why not say that you're powerful? Why not say that you are a healer? Why not say that you are enlivened, amped up, turned on, and know that your presence makes a difference the moment you walk into a room? It makes a difference. You ever, oh my gosh, I could tell you all about so many instances where this happens. I used to, so I don't get in my closet anymore. I got other stuff in my closet. I meditate right here. But when I used to get in my closet, I get in my closet, and remember on what's that show? The movie Ghostbusters, right? On Ghostbusters, there was this the Pillsbury Doughboy that all of a sudden it started to expand and expand and get bigger and bigger. Just like in the Matrix, when Neo turned into the binary code, right? It's as if your spirit just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I used to drive down the street, and one of the things that I did is I intentionally radiated love. I intentionally worked at making my magnetic field bigger. And so what I would do is that when I drive down the street or when I go someplace, I watch how, what's the vicinity that I have to get within a person before they turn around to look to see who is that coming, or what is that coming? Because we don't consciously know this, right? We don't consciously know that it's kind of like pheromones. We don't even know what it is about somebody that attracts us to them, but there is something about them, right? There's just something about them. And so when I go someplace, I want to see how long it takes for people, and this is not always, because I'm not always in that mode, right? But when I'm working my energy, I'm watching how people respond to it, because what I'm doing is I'm sending out a vibration even before I get there. So the goal is to always be in that vibrational flow. The goal is that if my energy is healing, to always be in that mode of healing. I realized that what just popped into my mind is sometimes we get into environments, and it's like, how when you're walking through an airport and you get on one of those little moving sidewalks, and it seems like you're going and it's effortless, and you just going and going, and then all of a sudden you step off of it, and it's like that slow down, right? We do that all the time. It's like all of a sudden it's like, yeah, right? And so the goal becomes to stay in that effortless mode, because we know that it is possible, right? If it's possible, then we can all do it, and we can stay in that mode all the time. But if what we do is like just be like, here we go, right? I get it. But the thing is to bring people up to your level instead of you sinking down to that other level, right? How do I lift up? How do I stay up? How do I stay in that vibrational field where I am setting the tone for what is happening, as opposed to allowing all of this other stuff that is going on to affect who it is and what it is that I'm bringing into a situation. I love the way that this works, but more than that, I love being conscious that it works, right? Being conscious that it is a possibility. And when I am conscious about it, right? When I'm consciously working it, ooh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Today, when I was doing my writing, I'm sweating for some reason. My fan is not, even though my fan is right here, my fan is not plugged up. But for some reason, I am sweating, and And I put on this turtleneck because I had the perception that it was cold in my house. And now I'm definitely not cold. Now, right now, I feel like I'm moist. Right? What does that woman say? That I'm shimmering. Maybe it's all of this vibrational energy coming through here because I'm hyped. Okay, whatever it is, I don't know. But I'm always hyped. I don't always sweat. But I'm always hyped. So I'm sitting here looking like, don't I have that little fan in here somewhere? I'm just looking around like, I know it's got to be here somewhere. But whatever the case may be, it's all good. So when I came in here today, I came in here because, well, no, I come in here because I come in here every day. I'm here every day. I'm here every day. But this morning, what hit me was while I was writing, I was doing my working on my book, and I started talking about depression and how depression looks. And so I was writing about a time when I went through a depression. And it was really interesting because, you know, a lot of times when people talk about depression, what they see is they see this, you know, people walking around mopey and sad and all of that stuff. But I was having some issues because I had lost my radio show, and there was a whole lot of stuff that had happened all at the same time. And I remember thinking, I'm determined that this ain't gonna get me down, right? And so instead of being caught up in being mopey and crying and being all sad and stuff, I decided, like, this ain't gonna get me down. So I started doing what I would consider hanging out, right? Kicking it. I was just gonna kick it everywhere. And I started hanging out with a bunch of people, going to happy hour every single day. And, you know, every time somebody said less, I was like, yes, before I even found out what it was. I was just out there, and I was going from place to place, doing all kind of stuff. And I didn't know that I was depressed, because to me, depression meant that I had to be sad. But one day I remember, it was because it's probably about, I don't know if I want to say it's this time of year or whatever, but I remember one day I used to go out to happy hour every day. Every day it was a different place, maybe sometimes always the same place, but it was just the thing that I was doing every day. And so I would walk into, you know, I don't know if y'all do this, but you walk into a bar, and I had to teach myself that when I walk into the door, stop, right? Because I have run into people, I have run into tables, because you come in from outside where it's bright and light, and you come into a dark room. And my eyes took some time to adjust. So I had to come in the door, and I had to stop, wait till the door closed, and then wait for my eyes to adjust to the darkness of the room before I proceeded. And I would go in, I would sit down at my spot, and hey, Juan, Derek is Derek and Juan, hey. So I would go and I would find my spot, right? And so sat down with these women and all of this stuff. And so I remember when I first started coming out of my depression, I went in, and I go in and I sit there, and, you know, I would be looking at the sunlight, thinking to myself, like, wow, look at how every time somebody opened the door, it's like the sun is flowing in, and I'm looking at it like, wow, hey, there's the sun. And so I'm just like, okay, now if I wanted to go out in the sunshine, like, you know, there's this part in my mind that's thinking to myself, well, can I take my drink out there? Now, I'm not a big drinker. I will tell y'all, I'm not a big drinker. As a matter of fact, that's part of what I was writing about too. My friends would, I'm good for about 2 drinks. On the third one, it's like, I can't even do 3 drinks. And so I was talking about how, people were always buying me drinks, right? And so some places you can go, I would go in, and they would be like, okay, you got 10 on your tab. I don't know, and so but you can only get 1 drink at a time, right? So anyway, I would go in and, just I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the sunshine and I'm thinking to myself, like, man, it would be nice if I could go outside in the sun, but I can't take my drink out there. My friends ain't going out there. So I'm just sitting there. So I'm feeling like, ooh, like that sun is calling me. So then one day I go in and I go in and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the sunshine and I'm thinking to myself, why am I sitting in here? And then I'm looking around at the other people that are sitting in the bar. And these people are engaged in this, like, what they think is a major conversation. I mean, they're yelling across the bar and they pointing fingers and they doing this, all of this stuff. And I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking, first I'm gonna tell y'all, honest to God, I looked at these people and I was thinking like, who the hell are these people? I mean, these are people I was hanging out with, right? But in your depression, it's almost like when some people, I don't know, some people are they are recluse when they're depressed, right? I was not. I was like sitting up there, and it's almost like you're sleepwalking. It's almost like you're sleepwalking. I'm thinking to myself, who are these people? I'm looking around, and so I want to say, if any of you are watching right now, forgive me. Because when I don't recognize you, when you come up to me, and it's not because I was drunk or intoxicated, it's because I wasn't in my right mind. I wasn't in my right mind. So the fact that you see me and I act like I don't know who you are after we used to sit next to each other at the bar, I don't know who you are, right? Because I wasn't in my right space. And so my first thought were, who are these people? And why do they think that they sound intelligent with this? I was just sitting there thinking to myself, and so I think that I might have stayed in there another day or two before I decided one day when I walked in, it's like, I can't do this no more, right? And the thought as I was sitting there watching people go through these things, I heard the story of the prodigal son. All of a sudden, I came to myself. Right. And when I came to myself, I was just like, it's not always an immediate shift. Sometimes it takes you a minute to come to yourself and then say, and you know what? It's okay if I go out there in that sunshine. It's okay if I go out there and there's no friends out there. It's okay if nobody gets why I need to put this behind me and move on. Because sometimes it's not about them. Right? It wasn't against them or against anybody. It's not saying anything is wrong with their conversation or what they were doing, but I know I had to be about the business of my life. And so all of a sudden I felt that moment where I got to shake this stuff off and I got to go on with my business. All of us go through that at some point in our life. So just because I'm talking about, I'm just trying to give a different face to what this estrangement could be like, right? The separation between your true self and this other self that you are like given over into. Sometimes we just don't know that somehow, we're off our path. And trust me, this is not about, I'm not one to be sitting up there trying to tell you about how to make some cheddar or how to make, sometimes it is just that we know that there is something in our life that we are to do and that only we can do. And if you are sitting up on somebody's bar stool, or if you're sitting up, and this is not disparaging, because you know what, we do what we can until we get to the place where we can do something else, right? So trust me, trust and believe. I get that all of us go through some stuff. We go through whatever we need to do in order to cope. Now, I got to tell y'all this, because this is something that broke my heart the other day. I know that there are a lot of us that are in pain. Right? There are a lot of us that are in pain. I was over on 131st. I'll tell y'all where I was. I was over on 131st Street. And I'm sitting at the light and I look over at this house, and on this house, there is this thing that says, F you, mom and dad, right? This is the place where I was broken. And I was, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, right? We know that all kind of stuff has happened to us in our communities. It's not always, we sometimes we want to sweep everything up under the rug, and we don't want to talk about it because there is this, we got this loyalty to not only to our family, but to our parents or to whatever. And so we try to like pretend as if it didn't happen or if it doesn't matter. But a lot of us got stuff in us that's tearing us up on the inside. And so if people need alcohol or drugs to figure out how to cope with life, I get that, right? We they do it because sometimes that's, what do they call it, liquid courage, right? They whether you smoking it up, I sometimes get that. And I wish that, that I had always gotten it or I always understood. But each of us, this book is making me realize that each of us come into our families. We are, whatever our birth order is. Sometimes we catch hell because we the oldest. Sometimes we catch hell because we the youngest. We always catching hell if we the middle child, right? But just depending upon what it is, we carrying a lot of stuff with us, and some stuff we can't even articulate, right? And for me, just learning how to re-inhabit my body and to learn that this thing is powerful beyond just what I'm thinking, that it has the power to lift things up. It's got vibrational power. It's got energy to it. Do y'all know how much people pay just for your attention? I mean, just to have a few moments of your time and your attention, people pay big money for that. One of the things that the guy who wrote this book, Yuval, what is this man's name? Yuval Noah Harari says in not in this particular book, but this is an amazing, fascinating book. But one of the things that he said is that the next big thing is not oil, it's not computers. He says it is people are paying for your attention. So it's called the information age. So these devices that we put in our houses that are constantly flickering messages to us about what we need to do, your television that's basically just selling you stuff all day and all night, all of these things is to take your attention and to take it not so you're inwardly focused and you're focused on what you need to do to lift your vibrational energy up, but rather so that you can give them your money. Y'all, we got to be about the business of taking care of our own business, of realizing that for so long we have had other people who have set our agenda for us. Now, let me address this guy writing on this house in Isabel Wilkerson's book, right? Isabel Wilkerson, she talks about the pain in our community that we have been through. A response to slavery means that a lot of times we have had people who tell us to stay in your place, don't get too big for your bridges, you are to be seen and not heard. We have, we get beat so that somebody else doesn't beat us. So, I mean, there's all of this stuff, coping mechanisms that our parents learned to exist and to coexist in this society. And a lot of these things still hurt because we took them personally. We thought it was about us rather than about them and the legacy that's been passed on down and down the line, right? That's what so we think that somehow something is wrong with us. There is nothing wrong with you. right? There is nothing wrong with you. You are worthy and deserving of the very best. Of every promise that God has ever made, you are worthy of that, right? You are totally loved. You are in your right place. Yes, you do have talent. Yes, you do have a gift to give to the world. That is all true about you right here and right now. But the interesting thing is that we got to unlearn all of the stuff that we have been taught in order to get us to that place. And so saying that means that, now as we start to, who was that said the final frontier is the soul or your mind, right? That was some group, but we got to get back to going within instead of giving all of our power out, so that we understand that, man, this is not about all of those people. And ain't nobody sitting up trying to count your stuff or tell you that you worthy or unworthy because of what you wear, what you got, all of this other stuff. You were born worthy. Do you realize, just because you are here on the planet, that something has, and this is so miraculous. We have lost this ability to see the wonderment in every aspect of life. That this conglomeration of cells, combined with another conglomeration of cells, that you are like a galaxy unto yourself. When you look up there in the stars and you see all of this stuff in the heaven, it ain't nothing in comparison to what you got walking around with you every day. But if you're wasting it, you won't know that, right? You won't even appreciate it if you just sleepwalking through life. And so once you get that you are the magnificence that is you, then you start turning around. People are really, there is no other like you. You know that, right? And so even as I sit here and I talk to you, I'm listening. I'm listening because I know that I got something that's coming through me. I don't know who it's for, but it's coming through me. And so all I'm supposed to do is say what it gives me to say. And so if that is the case for each and every one of us, that we are walking, talking parts of this entire universe, then who are we not to show up on the scene and do what we do? And it's not just about the money stuff. It's simply about you being enlivened to be who you are, giving yourself permission to show up on the scene and do what it is that you do. Sometimes people don't even have to know. People will say, I'm the person behind the curtain. I'm the person behind this. I like to be in the background and everything. But in the background, it's like the puppeteer, like they're still pulling strings. They're still, giving out stuff. They're still doing what they do. It's amazing when we start just thinking about all the stuff that is right here at our fingertips that we don't even recognize or know is happening. So if you've got something that you've been dealing with, I don't care what it is, right? Sometimes you have to forgive yourself and say, you know what? This is a part that you're playing right now. It doesn't become the truth of who you are. One of the things that I learned a long time ago is just because I have made mistakes doesn't mean that I am a mistake. And there's a big difference between that. Sometimes we think that because we think a thought, that makes the thought true. There is a thought, like, here's a thought. There's a thought. And I can sit up and I can think about the thought. But the moment I try to make it about me or to kind of to see that, or wait a minute, how do I want to say this? You're separate from your thoughts. You are the thinker. You are the thinker that thinks the thoughts. So I like to equate it to clouds, right? Here comes, if there's a big cloud that's coming past, right? I can choose to get in that cloud, and I could think about, oh, this is what they were doing, and this is what they was thinking, and blah, blah, blah. And I can play every role in that cloud, right? It's just a big jumble of clouds. A lot of times what we do is we jump on the cloud and we sitting up there and we acting as if, we got to, and the next thing we know, we done drifted off into la la land, and then we got to rush and get back to where we are. My thing is now, once you learn that you are the thinker, I can see that cloud going by and I don't have to engage in that cloud. So your negative thinkings, you can see them come up, but you don't have to jump on them and make it your home. You can let it go by. You can see yourself as the person that in the background, like you're the blue sky. You're not the clouds that come up in the sky. So don't get caught up in all of the stuff that gets jumbled up and tries to draw you in. Your job does not define who you are. As a matter of fact, your job is not the source of who you are. Your job is just what you do. It pays, it gives you, you go in there and you exchange your time for your money. But God is the source of all of your stuff. God is the source of your supply. And so when you get that in your mind, then what you stop doing is stop chasing after the clouds and recognize that, oh man, I am good. I am good. Changing mindset, Wine said, is so important. So glad your topic. Oh, so glad for your topic this morning. Well, thank you, Wine. I always appreciate when you're here and you show up and whatever. I tell people I do this not because people listen to it, but because I need to, right? it's what I do for me. One of the things that I have learned is that as I give, I receive. So if I read all these books, or if I, whether I'm listening to books or reading books, if I sit there and try to act like I'm gonna hold it back in, or I'm gonna hold it so that somebody don't know as much or more than me, when I'm withholding, I'm withheld, right? So the more that I give, if I give it out, I get more. And so this is like, I got to come in here and do this so that I can get more. This only way I can get more is to give more. And so when a lot of times in our community, we have taught like, ooh, I got to hold this back. I got to put this, squirrel this away. I got to not, I don't want nobody to know no much, or wait a minute, or the other thing we do, because I learned this from Value. When you playing cards, sometimes you want to, you got to put down your trump card, like you've been holding on to it or something like that. I tell you, when I hold on to stuff, it just kind of like gets lost in my own energy. And then I can see my energy getting heavy, and then I don't get stuff. When I'm giving, oh my God, it's like I get so creative. I get more to give, and that's juicy for me. And so if we can learn how to pay attention, to listen to that voice that's inside of us, listen to our bodies and ourselves. If we pay attention to when we walk in the room, if we pay attention to how we want to vibrate or affect other people, when we pay attention, oh my gosh, you see how good it is. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. So I am, oh my goodness, anyway, I'm so appreciative of being able to do this. One of the things that a lot of people talk about is this need for people to stay in gratitude. And gratitude, what gratitude is that when I'm talking about lifting the vibrational energy, gratitude is just that. It lifts you when you recognize that you got stuff to be grateful for, what you get is more stuff to be grateful for. It's almost like it crowds in around you, like, ooh, choose me, right? But when you're like negative about stuff, what it seems like is you get more stuff to be negative about, right? Let me pile this on. So don't be comparing sicknesses like, oh, you ain't as sick as I am, right? Don't compare sicknesses. Don't compare who got whooped the most or how many times you got whooped. Because all of that does is it brings more stuff for you to complain about. So if you start like just learning how to be grateful, y'all, people laugh at me when I talk about I'm grateful for a toilet, right? Because I don't know about you, but I grew up having to go down to Mississippi. I got to go to Mississippi, right? I don't like to say I had to do something or having to do something. I got to go to Mississippi every year in the cars, piling in the station wagon with my siblings, right? Whether we going down there singing 99 cans of beer on the wall, we got to all be in the car together talking about, whatever it was that we were talking about, whatever games we played to pass the time away. We go all the way down to Mississippi every year. I got to sit in an outhouse, right? I got to go on that little pot that they pulled from under the bed that you had to sit on because it was too dark for you to walk out to the outhouse at the time. I got to do all of that stuff. So when I sit down on the toilet in the middle of the night, or when I sit down on the toilet, when I first wake up in the morning, I am grateful. You hear me? I am so grateful. And most people don't even think about the simple stuff like, oh, I can go and get something out of the refrigerator that used to be an ice box that you used to have to buy ice from a guy on the street, right? We don't think about that. When we talk about salt pork, we don't understand why salt pork is salt pork. It was because it was preservative, because people didn't put that stuff in their refrigerator, and so they had to preserve it. We don't think about how grateful we are that you can sit in your house or lay in your bed and listen to somebody like a Sandra Bishop, right? Or talk or rant about something. We don't think about how wonderful it is that the heat is pumped in here because we got winter outside of our windows, right? There is so much to be grateful for. If you're stuck on how much money you got in your bank account, you're looking at it from the wrong perspective. There are people around the world who are happy and don't have crap. And so if you're sitting up there, woe is me, then you will get more to woe is me about. And so sometimes we just got to figure out how to lift ourselves up and celebrate who we are, right? Get on the groove. If you want to dance, be thankful that you can dance, because some people can't. Some people aren't here to do that. Some people, and you know what? You are the only thing. You can change your mood. You can change your tempo. You can change even your breath at will. You have that capability. Why not do it? Oh, I got a piece of hair right here. Why not do that, right? Why not? Why not? So gratitude. Start practicing gratitude on a regular basis, right? Before you go to bed at night, oh my gosh, I love getting in between my sheets and pulling that cover over me and feeling like it just totally envelops me. I got all these pillows in my bed. I'm so grateful for my bed. I'm so grateful for for the warmth. I'm grateful for my robe. Oh, I love my robe. I'm grateful for whatever it is. What I touch it, I'm so grateful that it's there. And so when you start learning how to be grateful for all of this stuff, it just seems like it gives you more to be grateful about. And do it for your body too. Heart, thank you for beating, right? Stomach, thank you when you growl, right? Even your coochie and all of that other stuff, be grateful that it works, and if it ain't working, speak to it, right? All of those places within your body and on your body, show it gratitude. I'm even grateful for the muscles and the cells that come together to squeeze out whatever waste is in me. I'm grateful that all of it works, right? Be grateful for the little things, right? Even if it's moving slow, be grateful. Because the other day, my body, as I was, I'm sitting on my throne and my body, I'm sitting up there, it says, hey, we need more water down here. And I was like, here, it's on its way, right? I got to just drink some more water. My body told me it needed more water. Learn how to listen. Learn how to pay attention, learn how to be present. And once you start doing all of that stuff and celebrating your body, it starts to look and feel different. Oh, it is different. Oh my gosh, y'all. All right, so it's time for me to go. Y'all, oh, this is so good. I appreciate the fact that you were here. I'm here Monday through Saturday, 7:30-ish. I've been showing up at 7:40 or so, 7:30-ish to 8:30-ish. And here on Sundays, I'm here from 1 o'clock. So I'm always online, and this stuff stays parked on my page, so you can watch it at any time. And it's just like you hearing it for the first time if this is your first time. So Derek, Valia, Juan, all of y'all, Ruth, everybody, thank you so much for being here today. This has been some wonderful energy. Pay attention to your energy. We are in this book right now. I got so many little tabs coming out of here. We are in this book. Stephanie is due back this coming week, and so I'll be with her once again, talking and discussing that book. It's a powerful book. Just in how you view your family and your life and your relationship, all of that stuff. Yeah, sometimes we resist learning new stuff. We back up off of it because sometimes it's just, we rather go back to sleep. We'd rather go back to sleep. But I'm going to the audiobook. Yeah, the audiobook is good even, the audiobook is good. It's since we move so slowly through the book, as you know, Ruth, it's a little hard when you're doing the audiobook because I'm crawling through it. However, the audiobook, once you get the information that it is, you can like be like, oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, thank you again for being here, and Yep. So I'm here, like I said, Monday through Saturday, and on Sundays at 1 o'clock. So I love you. Look, and I recognize the power that is you. Even if you don't recognize it, I am recognizing it. And so I'm calling you to be entrained with me on that vibration, that I'm calling all of y'all to be healers. I'm calling all of y'all to do this work of love, of bringing light, of uplifting other people and their vibrations. Be about that business, y'all. It's a worthy cause. All right, so I will talk to you guys later. All right, so be blessed. Have an amazing day. All right, love you. See ya.